Hey, how you doing? Today we're diving into a bill that's got people talking, protesting, and asking some serious questions. What if I told you there's a proposed law that could fast-track housing, supercharge Ontario's economy, and potentially override Indigenous land rights? Yeah, Bill 5. Is it a solution to our housing crisis or a legal landmine waiting to explode? Let's break it all down. No spin, just facts. So, what is Ontario Bill 5, officially known as the Public Lands Act Amendments? Basically, it gives the provincial government, specifically the Minister of Natural Resources, more power to sell or transfer Crown land without needing full public consultations or environmental assessments. Think of it like this. Ontario's sitting on massive amounts of undeveloped land, some of which could be turned into housing, infrastructure, or industrial use. The Ford government says Bill 5 will cut red tape and help build homes faster in response to the housing crisis. Here's where it gets serious. Much of the Crown land in Ontario falls within treaty territory or unceded Indigenous lands. Indigenous communities argue that Bill 5 undermines their constitutional right to be consulted when these lands are sold or developed. The Chiefs of Ontario and other First Nations have spoken out, saying this bill is a direct violation of treaties and reconciliation efforts. They're concerned it could lead to resource exploitation, environmental damage, and cultural erasure, all without proper dialogue. In short, they're not just against the bill, they see it as a threat to sovereignty and trust. Let's talk dollars and cents. If Bill 5 passes, the government could unlock thousands of acres for development. That means faster housing construction, more infrastructure projects, potential for private investments and job creation. But, and it's a big but, there's a long-term risk. If Indigenous legal challenges go forward, Ontario could face costly lawsuits, stalled projects, and a hit to its reputation with investors and Indigenous partners. So, while it might boost short-term growth, it could create long-term friction. Indigenous communities are strongly opposed to Ontario Bill 5 for several key reasons, all rooted in land rights, broken trust, and lack of consultation. Here's a clear breakdown. It undermines treaty rights and Indigenous sovereignty. Much of Ontario's Crown land exists on treaty or unceded Indigenous territory. Bill 5 would allow the province to sell, transfer, or develop this land without meaningful consultation. This violates Section 35 of the Canadian Constitution, which protects Indigenous treaty rights and the duty to consult, a legal requirement before impacting Indigenous lands. It sidesteps the duty to consult. Indigenous leaders argue Bill 5 is a direct violation of Canada's legal and moral obligations to First Nations. The government is pushing decisions without prior discussion or permission, a move many see as colonial and disrespectful. It's a step backward for reconciliation. The federal and provincial governments have both pledged to build trust and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. This bill does the opposite. It's seen as unilateral, aggressive, and dismissive of Indigenous voices. Many communities call it modern land theft, dressed up as efficiency. Environmental and cultural concerns. Much of the land in question contains sacred sites, burial grounds, forests, water sources, and wildlife critical to Indigenous ways of life. Fast-tracking development could destroy these areas without environmental assessments or Indigenous input. Quote from Indigenous leadership. Bill 5 is a clear violation of our rights. It ignores our treaties, our voices, and our connection to the land. This is not consultation. It's colonization 2.0. Chief of Ontario Regional Chief Glenn Hare. Bottom line, Indigenous people are against Bill 5 because it disrespects their rights, bypasses legal consultation, threatens sacred land, and breaks the promises of reconciliation. They see it as yet another attempt to take control of their land, without consent. For everyday Ontarians, especially those struggling to find a home, Bill 5 could mean more affordable housing, shorter wait times for developments, and potential new jobs in construction and development. The Ford government's angle is, we need to build faster and cheaper, and this bill helps us do that. It could be part of solving the housing crisis if done right. Let's lay it out plain and simple. The pros of Bill 5 include speeding up housing and infrastructure projects. It reduces red tape, unlocking land for development. This in turn could create jobs and stimulate the economy. However, the cons of Bill 5 are significant. It undermines Indigenous land rights and weakens environmental protections. Additionally, it opens Ontario to lawsuits and legal battles, damaging trust and reconciliation efforts. So the bottom line, Bill 5 might fix one problem while creating 5 others. So, what do you think? Is Bill 5 bold leadership or a dangerous overreach? Should speed ever come at the cost of sovereignty and trust? This isn't just about land, it's about the future of how we share, govern, and live on that land together. Hit us up on socials, drop your thoughts, and let us know, hey, how you doing?